In this video, I want to talk about distractions. It's not a new subject, but for those that are recent to this channel, I'm recording this video. Those that have been following this channel for a while, they may have already heard this message in another way, in another format, I mean. So bear with me if you've been on this channel for longer. What is a distraction? Let me tell you what a distraction is not. When you have a tunnel vision, you only see this, you want to be left alone, just want to remain unhindered in your routine, and you encounter reality. For example, the bus is 5 minutes later, or some other thing happens not the way you wanted it. No, that's not a distraction. Okay, because you're the one distracted because you don't pay attention to what's around you. Okay, so everyday frustrations are not distractions. They can serve as a sign to wake you up. What is a distraction? I'm talking about it from a spiritual point of view. A distraction is an opposition against an outcome that's awaiting you. Just think about it. Let's say that you are a police officer. Okay, I'm giving a parable now. You're a police officer, and you're on a case investigating a stabbing. So, while you are doing your investigation, you have relatives that keep calling you over and over again. And then one of your colleagues asks you, John, why are your cousins calling you lately? And then you think, well, we haven't spoken to each other for a while. We are family, so we just want to spend some quality time together. And then the colleague asks him, John, listen, haven't you noticed that ever since you received this case and you made progress in the case, your cousins kept on calling you? Don't you see that there's a connection here? And then John thinks, come on, my cousins have nothing to do with this case. But then the colleague told them, be watchful. So John later paid attention to his cousins kept calling him all the time, and he decided to stop answering their calls. And he noticed that they kept on calling him, even when they knew he was at work. Now what was going on? Those cousins were involved in a rip deal, and they scammed several people. And the stabbing was a result because of that rip deal, because one of the people that were scammed came after someone we thought was a perpetrator, but the one that was stabbed was also scammed. So now those cousins didn't want their relative, who's a police officer, to see the connection between them and the crime. So they began to show a lot of interest in him. And they suddenly had so much interest in him that it was kind of unusual. It was a distraction. Why? Because they were opposed to him completing his investigation. Because once he would have completed his investigation, he would have found out the truth, and those cousins would have faced jail time. But also many other people involved in the scam would also be exposed. So the distraction that was conducted by those cousins was an opposition towards the outcome that was awaiting John, which is finding out the truth. And that's what the distractions are. They're sent by the paranormal to oppose you. Why does the paranormal oppose you? Because they don't want you to walk by faith. They don't want you to walk in the abundance. So anytime you're about to walk in the abundance, they send people your way. Either people who suddenly become upset with you, and now you think, what did I do wrong? That is to distract you into thinking that something was wrong with you. Or the demons send time bombs to you which are people that are mentally frustrated and they're about to explode sooner or later. So the demons push them around you, so you become involved with them, so that when they explode, when they are triggered, you'll be the one that's harmed, because they will likely turn their rage onto you. Demons do that. They send people your way, and in the beginning, when those people arrive in your life, it's all smooth, it's all easy, it's so wonderful. Beware. When you look at the bigger picture, you realize that those people arrived at a specific time in your life. And that's why it's important to reflect onto the past, to process the past, so that you can move forward in safety. Because a lot of folks don't pay attention to the timing when things happen in their lives. They don't. Things often happen and they don't even realize things are happening. Whenever you're about to walk in the abundance, when you're about to walk in safety, when you're about to walk in line with Christ, demons will send a lot of people your way. Demons may even send fake believers your way. People who aren't born again, who don't have the Holy Spirit, but just religiously indoctrinated. He will send them your way, and those people may even admire you genuinely, but those people are not sent by God, they're sent by the evil spirit to be a trap onto you. Because sooner or later, they will be frustrated because they have a religious indoctrination. It's not supernatural. So you walk in the real. They don't, but they claim to follow Christ also. So sooner or later, they're going to become upset with you because you get results and they don't. And then they're going to ask you for help, and sooner or later, they are draining you. But because they admire you, you think those people are genuine. They may be genuine in the admiration of you, but why do they admire you? Do they admire you because you um, are an example to them to walk by faith? Or do they admire you because of what they can get from you? There's a big difference. As a believer, you will have distractions. That's why it's important for you to see the distraction, what it is. Because the purpose of a distraction is to remain hidden. You're not supposed to know it's a distraction, because once you know it's a distraction, you're going to ask, why am I distracted? What is it that the enemy or demons would want me to accomplish? Or what is it that stagnant people around me don't want me to find out? The moment you know it's a distraction, you want to know why. So a distraction is meant to remain hidden. That's why I always tell you to look at the time. For example, okay, in the example I gave about the police officer, the police officer didn't notice the weird timing. A colleague of his who was an outsider saw it immediately. And that colleague had a suspicion immediately, oh, those cousins are involved. Okay, another example. You have trouble sleeping at night. You have a lot of headaches. There are even times that you have digesting issues. So you go to the doctor to get medication, but the doctor tells you don't take a lot of medication because I don't see what's wrong with your body. So you have this disturbed sleeping pattern for a while. Then suddenly it's gone. Then it comes back. So you talk with a psychologist about it. Let's say you are not renewed to your mind yet. The psychologist was an outsider, may listen to your story, and he or she, because they're an outsider, they may see things that you don't. So then the psychologist tells you, Betty, you had these sleep patterns, you had this disturbed sleep rhythm for over 5 years. It comes and goes. You tell me. And and you also told me that when it's gone, you felt so good. But in your story, I also noticed that every time you receive this disturbed sleeping patterns, you suddenly get a new set of friends. because you told me about this Jessica that you sang out with, and you had this period that you couldn't sleep well, and suddenly you lost contact with this Jessica. And so then you met other people, and later a similar thing happened again. So it seems to me as if every time you're about to be sucked into trouble, your body senses danger. And because your body senses danger, you can't sleep well at night. And because you sense danger and you can't sleep well at night, you don't function well in daily life. And it's this dysfunction that eventually keeps you away from trouble. I'm not saying that a disturbed sleeping pattern or the disturbed sleep rhythm is a good thing, but I see that there is a bigger power working on your behalf. And what was happening? This Betty had a grandmother that was praying fervently on her behalf. So in this case, she thought that the disturbed sleeping patterns were the hindrance. But in fact, it were people sent by the enemy that were the distraction. And the body sensed the danger, but she didn't realize it was because she was surrounded by time bombs. She wasn't aware of this. But the prayers of her grandmother worked out in such a way that angelic beings they frustrated the presence of those people around her. And I mean whole angelic beings. And eventually she got involved with other people, so she avoided danger. Anytime this was about to happen, there was angelic intervention due to the prayers of her grandmother. So prayer works. It does. We often don't see it working out, but prayer works. About distractions. Because distractions are meant to be hidden, you don't recognize them quickly. And don't blame yourself. Sometimes you just don't realize it's a distraction. But one easy way, one very quick way to detect a distraction is to ask the following question. Does this bring glory to God? What I mean with bring glory to God, does this advance God's purpose for you? Does it contribute to you walking by faith and walking in victory, walking in the abundance? Does it contribute to it? If it doesn't, it's a distraction. This is not black and white thing, it is just being realistic. If something does not contribute to you walking by faith, that means walking in the security, in the safety, in the abundance. If it does not contribute to it, nor advance it on your behalf, it is a distraction. Ask the question, does it bring glory to God? Or you can change the question a bit, does it advance God's plan for my life? Ask that question concerning anything that you encounter or anything that comes your way. If you suddenly meet new people, okay, first thing first, are they believers? Okay, if they are believers, then they can be sent by God. Okay, if they are believers, are they renewed in their mind? Or are they still focused on the fake promises of the world? If they're renewed in your mind, then you can embrace them. If they're not renewed in their mind, even though they are believers, you'll need to watch out. Why? Because they will like you, suck you into the distractions of the world. If they're not believers, then they're either sent by God for you to minister unto them, or they're sent by the enemy to hinder you. To ask those questions with everyone who comes new into your life. It can be that you prayed for new opportunities, and now this individual came by and they informed you about some real estate deal that's going on where people can purchase property for a very low price. And That individual is not aware that you intended to be involved in real estate. If you walk in by faith and you realize this is a door cut open for you, then you realize, okay, I can deal with this individual for now. And later, when the purpose has been served, the Holy Spirit Himself will remove that individual. That's how you ought to deal with people. Ask spiritual questions concerning their presence. That's what a lot of folks don't do. A lot of folks look at respect, boundaries, they look at politeness. They have all these expectations which are worldly that they're clinging on to, and they judge people in line with those worldly expectations. And that's why they're trapped over and over again. They're not renewed in their mind, so they cannot ask the right questions about people. And you need to learn to ask the right questions about people. You'll have to do it, because the enemy will use people to distract you. He will not use the weather to distract you. He won't. He will not use wild animals somewhere in Africa to distract you. No. He will use what's most effective, other people. Especially those that have access to you. The same question you ask concerning situations. If suddenly you feel tensed as if something is going on, don't brush it off. Go into prayer so that the Holy Spirit will expose what's going on. Because what the enemy will do is the enemy will cause contention about you behind your back, and the human beings involved in this contention, they sooner or later will seek relief from that contention that they've caused, that they're involved in. And then they want to transfer all their frustration onto you. They want to dump it all on you. Now they want to take action against you. And such contention will grow and grow, and before you know it, you have people with homicidal urges against you. So when you sense as if something is breathing against you, don't ignore it. But here's the thing. Often when the enemy is causing contention against you, the enemy at the same time, or just before the enemy does it, will bring something pleasant to you. He will bring kind people. He will bring cortical solutions to you. The enemy will distract you with something shiny, while at the same time, contention is growing against you. That's what the enemy often does. That's why I've warned you guys often for smooth success. Smooth success is not from the Most High. It's not. Smooth success is what the enemy uses on worldly people, or people that are worldly minded, to keep them away from aligning themselves with Christ. And every smooth success ends in ruin. But people often don't see it, because they don't look at the bigger picture. They are in a tunnel of vision. They only see this. Well, that's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.